What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ask Our Vet live from the Earth Animal Studios. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. Well, today is our 7th episode of season 2. It is really, it was gorgeous out today. Did curbside appointments, and actually today was a pleasure to be outside. So, hey Morgan, thanks for checking in. So as spring is here, right? Last week we talked about allergies, and this week we're going to talk about flea and tick prevention, right? I think it's obviously that time of year we have to really start thinking about protecting our furry family members. Hey Lori, thanks for checking in from Wisconsin. Hey Mare, thanks for watching. So again, allergies, fleas and ticks, this is the stuff that we want to talk about this time of year. So we're going to talk about why it's important to prevent our little furry guys from getting these parasites, and then we're going to talk about options, right? Because there's been some pretty topical news on some of the common, one in particular, a flea and tick collar. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our options, and most importantly, what we're going to do is talk about the Earth Animal Nature's Protection line today as a natural alternative. So we're going to go through all that stuff. All right, let's see who's checking in. Hey Oreo Pup. Nicole, thanks for checking in. Hi Marilyn. Holly's checking in from the Healthy Hound in Florida, the flea capital, right? Yeah, and one of the things that's a pretty good point, Holly, is that when we talk about this nationally, we have to remember that there's all obviously whatever region you're in, you go from some areas are very seasonal. Some areas have a shorter season. Some areas are year round, right? Depending in the south, southeast, south, there's because of the temperatures we have it. Now, I will also say that one of the things that I believe has changed and is continuing to change is even in the Northeast, as we always talked about seasonal and heavier times and lighter times, those lower times in the winters and things have gotten less and less, because we really have had, with climate change, several mild winters. Now again, we had a pretty snowy February this year up in the Northeast, but for the most part over the last several years, that's changing. And so the kind of idea of doing things seasonally, I believe, is also changing. I think we have to take a look at that. I think we have to protect our guys for longer, okay, and really has become most places year round, okay? All right, let's see who else is checking in. That's great. A lot of people checking in already. Oh, Eleanor, thank you for joining for the first time. That's great. I hope you enjoy it. Hey, Samantha, DJ. We have some new names, which is also great. Chandria, Diane from North Carolina. Hey, Mel, how are you? Hi, Patty. Hey Heather, study break, right? Anatomy and physiology. Heather, what are you currently studying in anatomy and physiology? What are the topic? What's the current topics? I'd love to know. Hey Regina, how's Vegas? Is it starting to get back, or is it still? I know places like Vegas have taken a real hit, obviously, with COVID. Hi Swellen. Hey, Dr. Jane, thanks for watching. Hey, Tasha. Yeah, again, Tasha, we're going to be talking all about nature's protection, and I spoke to Dr. Bob and Susan today about it as well. I have a few, Dr. Bob and Susan have some wonderful thoughts, and this is really are very passionate about this nature's protection line and natural flea and tick prevention as a whole. So I'm going to share a thought or two from them as well. Hey Beata, thanks for watching again. I appreciate it. Hey Regina. Yeah, Regina, I don't know about Super Zoo. I don't know. I don't want to speak for the company. I think, obviously all this stuff remains to be seen as the months go on here. Okay. So, stay tuned for that. And once I know, I can certainly, let you know, obviously we'll announce it, but I'm not sure. And it's something that will be talked about obviously in the coming couple of months as things start to open up, more vaccines. Okay. So, look, I have a lot of hope that we're starting to inch back towards normalcy. I'm just, with the increase in weather, more people able to be outside, more vaccinations. We're getting there. We're getting there, and I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of people checking in. That's great. Thanks everybody for watching. Hi Cheryl. Hi Stacy. Good Fish. You made it home. You're watching. That's great. Madison, Wisconsin. Hey Rita. Wow, guys, that's good. That's great. I can't even get through everybody to say hi, but thank you everybody for watching for sure. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Veronica. Hi, Nora. Oh, good. Say hi to Priscilla and Presley. All right, let's get into it. I think this is a really important topic, right? And so I think the first thing I wanted to talk about is like what we're up against, right? Why is this important? And I think that's kind of the crux of this, right? Why is it important to protect our, and some things are obvious and some things aren't. And I think some, a lot of things people know and some things they don't. So I thought we would go over that, right? So, the other thing too is, fleas, we always say flea and tick prevention, flea and tick prevention, flea and tick prevention. And, in order of importance, I think we've gotten now, nationally, okay? I think it should be called tick and flea prevention, right? Because really, the ticks are harder to kill than fleas, all right? And harder to repel, all right? And the second thing is they really carry more health concerns now, across the board for ourselves and for our pets, all right? For our dogs and cats. So it's really important, I think, to talk about it in that kind of vein. We're going to do a lot of talking about ticks, okay? And again, one of the things that follows is if you have something that can repel and keep ticks off your animals, then the fleas follow, because ticks generally are harder, okay? So if you're affected against those, you're going to also get, hey Abby, thanks for joining. You're going to also get the fleas as well, okay? All right, so ticks and fleas, fleas and ticks. Let's talk about why it's important. So, what do they do to our animals, right? Well, mildly, obviously, on the mild reactions, they can cause things like skin irritation, right? Specifically with fleas, they can cause things like flea allergic dermatitis. It's really very interesting. This what they call FAD, or flea allergic dermatitis, right? An animal that's allergic to flea saliva can literally start an entire allergic reaction over their whole body from just one or two or a few flea bites. It causes this systemic histamine release, systemic reaction. They get secondary bacterial infection. So flea allergic dermatitis can be a real pest for animals, okay? And certainly, even with ticks, even beyond the disease they can spread, certainly tick attachment sites can get secondarily infected. I've seen, little keloids persist for weeks at the site of where we had a tick attachment. So certainly on the basis we can get these skin problems, okay? But what are the real problems we deal with, right? Tick-borne disease on the rise across the country, okay? Ticks transmit about 16 different diseases, all right? For people and animals, okay? Now, the most common things we deal with as small animal veterinarians is obviously Lyme disease, Ehrlichias, which are another tick-borne disease. Similar, can cause signs similar. It's what's responsible. There are different Ehrlichias, but what's responsible for Rocky Mountain spotted fever. You've heard of that, okay? I actually had Rocky Mountain spotted fever when I was in veterinary school out in Missouri. It is not fun. And anaplasma, which is another tick-borne illness. Very similar signs. They can, as you know, these things can affect both us and animals, right? But they can affect our animals joints primarily, but they can affect blood counts, organ function, neurologic function. So they can do a lot. And, you know, I have, at my clinic in Connecticut, I would say that I have a definitive positive, I would say multiple positives every week, almost probably to the point where if you average it, I probably get a positive tick-borne disease a day, I would say, close to that anyway. So they're really on the rise, and they're on the rise because we have climate change. We don't get die-off, whereas if you get really, really cold winters, a lot of snow, we would get a lot of die-off. As our weather kind of tends to change, we're not getting these really, really cold winters. We don't get the die-off, so these things hang around and perpetuate. So we're definitely seeing it on the rise, and it is across the country they're seeing it. What other serious thing? You know, fleas don't carry as many things, but one thing that fleas do carry is tapeworms for our animals. The intermediate host of tapeworms is fleas. So the way the animals get them is actually by biting where the fleas are and ingesting the flea, and then they get the tapeworms through that. Okay. Cats can also have Bartonella, right, which can cause cat scratch fever. So the fleas carry their own, but they don't have the number that the ticks do. All right, let's see who else is checking in here if we have any questions yet. All right, let's see. All right, good. All right, so let's start talking about how we prevent them, okay? And there are basically three kind of methods by which most common tick and flea products are given. Okay, one is the classic, which was some of the kind of the older methods, which are the spot-ons, right? Some form of an oil that's placed on the back of the neck or the back of the animal that disseminates over the animal and sits on the skin and repels fleas and ticks that way. Okay, and then you have collars, right? There's several different collars. Okay, and then there are the newer kind of with the advent are orals. Okay, and we're going to go through each one. We're going to talk about kind of the way I thought we would break this down is we're going to talk about the most common ones now. Okay, and then we are going to talk about the Nature's Protection in depth, why it's a good alternative. Okay, so we're going to go there. The other thing too is we will be doing there's a potential for an offer later on in the show, so hang tight for that. We'll do that at the end of the show. All right. Okay, so we have a couple questions. We'll grab those and then we'll go on. Juan says we picked up 2 ticks on Long Island last week, so they're out and about. Juan, they are definitely out and about. I've had animals come in with them even in the winter. So, like we said, they're around and they're going to be out in full force now. Especially as the weather gets nicer, we're going to be out more. We're going to be out more walking our pets. We're going to be hiking with our pets, and so it's we're going to be in their environment more. Right, so you've got more parasites, and we're going to be around them more. Hello, John. Thanks for tuning in. All right, yeah. Do natural products really work? I think try sprays with essential oils. Okay, Beata, we're going to get to that. Okay, we're going to be talking about, and the answer is yes. And we're going to go in depth in that later on. Okay, all right. So, what are the common spot-ons? Okay, traditional. Again, we'll be talking Nature's Protection at the end of these. So those are your front lines, your advantage. Typically, the spot-ons are what are they? Well, one thing you'll find with the some different forms of neurotoxins, and what they do is they hyperstimulate the parasite's nervous system, okay, and they work that way, and they basically all are a version of that, just a little bit tweaked, a little bit different, and the spot-ons are no different. Okay, what are the side effects that you can see with these? Well, obviously, side effect wise, you can see at the very, you can have topical irritation, obviously, but you can get other things, right? You can get lethargy, you can get GI signs, you can get neurologic signs from these, okay? So those are the your kind of traditional spot-ons. As far as the orals go, okay, the orals are the newer advent of the orals, right? Those are taken generally, a couple of them are once monthly. There is one that also lasts for 3 months, okay? And those are very similar. And again, just a different version of the, of the neuro. And then we get to what we talked about with the collars, all right? So there are different collars. The most common and the highest selling collar out there right now, I believe, is the Seresto collar. And I do know something we have to talk about. Obviously, you saw that they had a USA Today. Most of you probably saw it, expose on it. And they were talking about the amount of incidents that they've had since the inception of the collar. That Seresto collar has 2 ingredients, all right, imidacloprid and flumethrin. One, the imidacloprid is for the fleas, that hyperstimulates their nervous system, and the flumethrin is to repel the ticks, and it's similar. Just that's a pyrethrin, just a little bit different, and so they both work. The 2 ingredients work on both fleas and ticks. All right. What the USA Today article said when it came out is that they've had a lot of reactions that have been reported to the EPA since the inception of this. And if you haven't seen it, you can certainly, it's out there. You can go and read it. And they've had a lot of reactions with this. Now, there are a lot of animals on this collar. Have there been animals that have used this collar that have done well with the collar? Of course. Okay. But they have had a tremendous amount of mild and minor to moderate, they called it, but then they've had a high amount of serious reactions. So it's something to look at. And again, are there many animals out there that are using this that have done okay on it? Yes, there are. But it is worth a look. And I think, like I said, you can find that. Okay. Let me just let me see where we are here in questions. All right, let's go back to our talk. So one of the things I've always been passionate about, okay, and something they always have, it's a great quote on this, and what it is Bob and Susan have always been fundamentally opposed to using dog and cats as a delivery system, the animal as a delivery system for a chemical flea and tick control, okay? And that is ultimately the reason why they created the Nature's Protection. And the answer is yes, all right? Now, I think it's important to note, right, that the truth of the matter is, will the natural products ever have as high an efficacy against fleas and ticks as the chemicals? The answer is no. You can't get to that level without using those chemicals. But the flip side of that is, at what cost? Okay, there are not a tremendous amount of long-term studies on the use of these, right? Are the traditional ones effective? Yes. Are the natural ones effective? Yes, just not quite as effective. And that's why, right, we make a system, right? We use things together so they complement one another. They work symbiotically with each other, and that's what we're going to get into. So I realize some, like Beata, that's a good question. Some people question that. The question is, yes, they are effective. Are they? But they're not quite as effective as those chemicals. But again, if you can get good efficacy and you can do it naturally, right, then why wouldn't we? And I think that even if we can use our systems to use less chemicals in our animals, wouldn't that be a great thing, right? It's less things for our animals to have on their bodies or in their bodies. It's less things for our families to be exposed to. So I think it's always good. But like I said, you can't quite with a natural product get to that. Some of these some of these chemical flea and tick products are, could be over 90% effective. Well, again, it's because you're using chemicals, right? And so I think that's important to note. All right, so let's talk about nature's protection from earth animal, okay? Again, like I said, it's a system, and it's important. We use things in conjunction with each other so that we can build more efficacy. We can build a product and a system that will be more effective together than alone, all right? So what do we start with? All right, so the base of our nature's protection pyramid, right? Just the foundation of it is the herbal internal powder, okay? And and that's a daily powder that's put into the food, all right? And what does it do? Well, what it does is it supports their immune system, right? Because the stronger the immune system, the better that they have to repel these things, okay? And what it does on a level that's not perceivable to people, but perceivable to parasites is it changes their odor, their taste of their blood, their odor, and that in something that they don't taste good to the parasites. Okay, they dislike the scent. They don't like that. They don't. It's not that you can. It's not that you're going to sit there and go. You're going to smell the animal and go, okay, no, we can't perceive it, but it does work on the insects. And what's in it? There's things. There's vitamin B's. There's things that help the skin. We have a formula that has yeast in it. We also have a yeast-free formula. Okay, so you can choose based on your animal. All right. So the basis of it is to promote the immune system, help make the skin healthier. Okay, things like nettles, right? Great for the skin. So it's the system where we're treating the whole animal. We're helping to make them hardier, better immune system, healthier skin, and that also helps with parasites, right? So you have that as your base, okay? The next thing is, what do we want to do? So what do we add to that? We do the internal powders every day. What do we add to that? Well, you can add then, we're treating the inside, then we want to have something on the outside that helps repel the fleas and ticks. And so the basis of that are two options, right? We have the traditional collar, okay? The collar is, essential oils, basically Virginia cedar wood and peppermint oil, okay? Has some almond oil as well in it. Okay, and the spot-ons, which are, again, same principle as the other spot-ons that we talked about, but in a natural form in natural oils, okay? And what the spot-ons do is the same thing. They spread on the skin, help to repel the fleas and ticks, and the collars do the same thing. The collar, it obviously looks like this, right? Has a really nice scent, but that works in conjunction. You've got something inside to help their immune system and help their skin. And so it is, there's the base of your system. Okay. And I will say that one of the things that people said before is, we have various components, and we'll get into some of the other components of this system. But one of the things that I want to tell you is, as time goes on, the one thing they're finding, even with the chemical products, they're finding is that we're getting resistance. We're getting these fleas and ticks are just getting hardier, okay, and tougher to repel and kill. So we are constantly striving, even at Earth, to continue to try and simplify this system. Okay. Again, if you look on the website, we've always talked about high seasons. You can add this, low season, and what we're striving towards is to make a year-round product simpler, with as effective as we can in a natural product, and making these products hardier to where the animals tolerate them well. They're good for the animals. They're good for the environment. They're good for, they're not going to harm your animals, the environment, your family, but they are as effective as we can get them. And we constantly are working on that, including right now, we're working on that as well. Okay. What other things can we add to this? That during summer, one of the things we talked about last week during the allergy talk, okay, is we talked about, obviously, fleas and ticks coincide in the nice weather, oftentimes with allergy season, right? And one of the things that we talked about was bathing them more during that time, okay? And so we have the shampoo, right? This is a great shampoo for their skin, but it also has some of the essential oils in it. So it's something to use during the high season that can help get pollen off their coats, obviously, but also increase their essential oils to help repel. So it's kind of two birds, one stone. So I do like that Nature's Protection shampoo as well. One of my favorite products on this, and something that if you're doing things like nighttime walks and you have more mosquitoes out then things, is the Herbal Bug Spray. And I actually use this on my dogs when I'm walking, and myself. It's got a great scent, but it really does work against things like the no-see-ums and the mosquitoes that I've seen at night. So there are adjunct things, but the primary part, the primary base of this is getting them on the internals, getting them on the powder once a day, and then also adding in the collar, adding in the spot-ons as well. All right. Nicole, I think my questions are frozen, so I'm not sure who else is checking in. It's that it froze, but we'll keep. I'll just keep talking. Maybe it'll come back. I apologize. I think there's people checking in, but I can't see it, unfortunately. All right. So anyway, I do think kind of the take home when we're talking about this is that if we can do these naturally and we can help our animals by doing them, even in really, really heavy areas where they're just, obviously we're in Connecticut. Lyme disease is named after a town in Connecticut. I think I was looking at some statistics. I think Connecticut is 5th on the national list of tick-borne diseases, and New England has in the top 10 has like 4 or 5. New York is very high. Pennsylvania's high. You get up into New England, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire. So when we get in those areas, I know people are using a lot of the traditionals, and again, it may be that we can in those very heavy areas we can use this as adjunct. Okay, where we may be able to lessen the amount of those chemicals we can give them if we can't get off of them totally. So each animal's individual. I will tell you that the no-brainer for these natural products, always the no-brainer, are animals with pre-existing conditions, right? So that have some chronic illnesses. You cannot and should not give any of the heavy-duty chemicals to epileptics, animals with seizures. So that's a very good product. This natural product is very good for those. And, our geriatrics and elderly that may have some other complicating issues, okay, that may have some comorbidity things. So I think with that, I think those are no-brainers. We definitely want to get those guys on as natural stuff as we can. All right. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm frozen here, unfortunately. So I can't see any more comments. They kind of shut down a little while ago. So I apologize for that. We're just going to have to answer more next week on the show. Again, super sorry. I can't. It's gone blank on my end. So I do apologize. We're having some difficulty. However. And that's really it. Not a long topic tonight. All right. I wish we could get to the questions. We may have to, I'll give it a minute to see if maybe they do reload, but unfortunately they're frozen. I apologize. All right. But what I did do is I did promise that we had an offer to talk about. So I should put that out there. Earth Animal's offering a free Nature's Protection Flea and Tick Herbal Collar for dogs and cats with the purchase of our Nature's Protection internal powder. We have 2 versions, either one. So you can choose either one. You'll get a free collar with them. Okay. There is no promotion code for the offer that they told me, but you do need to add the collar in your cart along with the powder. and the discount will come at checkout. Okay, so go check out the line. Go check out the line at earthanimal.com. You can get these at your independent retails, your pet retailers. Okay, we have them obviously at the Earth Animal store, but check them out online and read about them. I think as you read about them, you'll really and look at what's in these things. And again, I do think they're a really good option. What I may do is start next week with, maybe we'll kind of review this next week, because I'm sure there's plenty of questions. And again, I apologize, I can't see any of them. But what I'll do is next week I'll start and we'll do a quick review on this, and we'll get some of the questions in then, and then we'll go on to the next topic. Okay. I'm very sorry that I can't get to them. I just can't see them. It's all frozen. I apologize. All right. Well, usually we're just getting into all the questions at this point, so I do apologize, but a little shorter than usual. However, let me see if maybe, give me 1 minute, maybe I can get, let me see if I can get some of the questions. Someone may be able to send them to me. All right, this is what we'll do. Next week, come back, we'll review at the beginning, we'll get the questions in then, and then even some of the ones that were put on here, I'll have already prepared and I can answer them off the top of next week. I really apologize, sorry about the technical difficulties, but I just can't see any. All right. Everyone have a really, really safe and a great weekend. Like I said, the weather has really been great. So enjoy it, get outside, and I'll talk to you next week. Sorry about the questions. All right, we'll talk soon.